Okay, thank you everyone for joining. So this is our first session with Nikhil for the Ask the Champion series. And I hope everyone's staying safe and active in some ways. So today we have the 2020 Tokyo Olympian Nikhil Kumar. And then I believe all of you know who he is. And then if you don't, you should do some homework. And so basically, we're teammates, and I have seen Nikhil grow from a 2200 player to a now 2800. So
Oh,
I played Nikhil first time, I think in 2015 at US Nationals. I think he was 2300. We played in the under 21.
under 21s, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and luckily I beat him back then. And so Nikhil, I'm gonna first start with the first question. So, what is it like to be an Olympian at such young age?
Well, right now yet I haven't had the experience of going to the Olympics yet, which I'd love to have, but just the thought that I'm going to be able to compete in like such a big event and one event that comes only like every 4 years, it's pretty exciting for me. I'm just
Yeah.
happy. Yeah.
So, when I made the 2016 Olympics, I was like so excited that I did so many celebrations. Did you do any celebrations back?
Well, only after I won the last match in the trials, I had thrown my paddle to the side. Kind of just everything was just like all free, and I was just happy that I had been able to win every single match at the trials.
Nice, nice. And for the juniors, you can post the questions in the chat, so me and Nikhil can all see them.
Yeah.
And I also want to ask, about sponsorships. Growing back, I believe you have gotten, DHS right now.
Yeah.
And have you ever been sponsored by Butterfly or any other brands?
No, I've not been sponsored by any other brands, like personally. When I was with ICC, I was club sponsored by like whatever brand the club was sponsored by. But now I'm individually sponsored by DHS for the past
Yeah,
2 years now.
good, good. So can you share some experience on like the pros and the cons for juniors for the, getting a sponsorship or not getting a sponsorship?
So I definitely think if you want to get better, of course, sponsorship is very important because also as you get to a higher level, like one of the most important things I feel when you get to a higher level, you start training more. You're gonna have to start changing like equipment, I think, as like often because of how much you're practicing. And having a sponsorship comes in handy with that because you have rubbers readily available at all times. Then I think also just the support and from the sponsor, it really helps you like motivate and make you a better player, I guess, when you go into international tournaments, for example. And you're also able to like spread their brand also to others.
That's good. So, from my personal experience, I never gotten a sponsor because, I play Hurricane forehand and then, I used to play Butterfly backhand.
Yeah.
But, if I get one sponsor, for example, from Butterfly, I had to play both side Butterfly rubber. And I couldn't do that because, if I change my Hurricane forehand to a Butterfly forehand, then, my rating will probably drop because the techniques. So,
Yeah.
for juniors, you have to correctly choose your brand, like choose your rubber. And then if you're forced to get a sponsor, like if they ask you to change the rubber or change like a rubber that you used to play with, I don't do that. Just don't get that sponsor. I think that's like the best idea.
Yeah, I agree with Tom. I feel like basically it's most important to like know which rubber you're most comfortable with, which equipment you're most comfortable with, and what you feel like bring the best game out of you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And one of the junior asked me, what was your strategy when you played Ushuan at the camp? The
UCLA.
U.S. and China camp. Yeah.
Well, Lucian, of course, is an amazing player, world number one in women's at that moment, possibly, I'm not sure. But I mean, I didn't really have much strategy going into the match, and I was just kind of playing free with no pressure because I mean, she is an amazing player, and it was a very difficult match for me. I knew I had some chance, once going into the match, and I think I remember I had about 2-1, 9-7, I think, against her, I think, or something like this, and I had a chance to win the match 3-1, but it was unfortunate I lost it. But it was a great experience for me to be able to play against like high level players.
So, for juniors, like, when you play with a higher level player, you face some pressure, right? You want to beat them, but they're like, they have higher rating than you, and they're maybe better than you in some way. So how do you overcome that pressure? And then, what strategy did you use when you
I
were
think
young?
I think for me specifically, I think because as most players know, I'm very loud when I'm in the court, and I think that gives me a sense of like confidence and also puts more pressure on the opponent. Because when I'm fighting so hard, they know that even though I'm the underdog in the match, I'm still willing to like fight at their level kind of thing and try my
Mhm.
best to win the match. So I think that's most important. I think having confidence in yourself and wanting the match just as badly.
Okay, so from that, he asked, do you have any strategy for dealing with mental pressure during the match? Other than chilling, other than
Well, definitely I've done some kind of like breathing, I guess you can say, exercises kind of thing when I was playing, especially when it came to the Olympic trials. There were many times where matches were getting quite intense for me, and I just take more deep breaths and like slow down. And sometimes when I had the balls coming, I kind of kick it around a little bit just to go take a little bit longer time in order to like rest and like be like restart my mind, I guess, with the strategy and what I want to do in order to win the points. But I try just not to rush as much when mentally. That's my mental strategy normally.
that's good, that's good. And then for myself, like, I think if you do enough preparation before the match, you'll have a lot, better time during the match. You won't you won't be like, at a situation that you don't know, what to do, what to serve, or what to receive. I think it's all because you have to do the preparation before the match, right? Miguel?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know in the past, especially Tom, also we when we would go to tournaments as a team, also we used to analyze videos before the match, like the night before of the team we're playing against, and we'd like come up with the strategy of the opponents we're most likely to play against and decide like how we were gonna win against them.
Yeah, it's good. So next question from Sabrina. Any tips on remembering points better? I think that's an
Uh,
easy one, right?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly how like well, what does she mean specifically?
I think she means like using your video camera to record a match. Otherwise, like remembering after each set, to remember where you won the point and where you lost the point.
I mean, I guess for me there really isn't much like practice to that. I guess it just comes naturally. I guess when I'm playing like especially when it much better matches, whether I win or lose, I tend to remember the points, like more important points that happened in that match and the crucial points, especially when I lose because those are like the points that I need to remember to practice on and like to strengthen those weaknesses in order to become a better player in the future.
Yeah, I think you should remember the points because like if you don't, then that means you're not playing clearly. That means like your mind is a mess after one game. So if you're really clear on the strategy, I think you should remember the point.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Sabrina messaged me. So she said it's hard for me to focus and clear my mind from mental pressure
Mhm.
and remember what strategy I should use.
Um, I think at that moment it's quite difficult. I think you just have to slow down. I think that's the best advice I can give, and like kind of just take your time with each point and just play to your strengths. Whether that may or may not be your strategy at that moment, if in case you don't remember, just play to your strengths until I guess the set is over. If you're able to win through it, then that's good. If not, then you have of course that 1 minute with your coach to be able to like kind of go over the strategy and like rethinking how you want to approach the next games.
It's good. One question from Sean: which blade and rubber sheet are you using?
So at the moment, I'm using the Long 5 blade from DHS with a straight handle. So that's my blade, and then my forehand rubber is Hurricane with the blue sponge, and on my backhand is Hurricane with the orange sponge. The backhand rubber is slightly softer than my forehand rubber because my forehand requires more power. So yeah.
That's good. Um, Strati asked, how is Nikhil training for the Olympics?
At the moment, well, originally planned I was going to be in Europe during the summer before the Olympics, training with other professional athletes who are also qualified for the Olympics, and I think there was going to be some sort of like training camp in preparation for that. But at the moment, with the situation I'm in, I'm just trying to make the most of it as I can from home. So I have a table tennis robot at home with the table, which I'm practicing almost every day, and then along with that, I'm doing physical training on the side with like weights, and then I'm also like running, and yeah.
Okay. So Jasna, can you see the question?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can see it. Could you please let the juniors know how do you manage daily schoolwork and training? So, I mean, for me, I've been doing this for quite a long time now with this travel and also managing school at the same time. So, I think at first, most importantly, at the beginning of every year, I kind of let the teachers know what my plan is going to be for at least the first half of the year, or what I'm planning to do, and kind of like let them know what they need to be prepared for, because I tend to travel a lot, especially once high school started. I missed about 2.5 to 3 months of school every year. So with that, it has definitely been difficult, but the most important thing is just letting the teachers know. And like, I mean, my teachers have always been in support, and that's what's really helped me. And then also, I mean, just making sure I'm always up to date with my school stuff, because by keeping up to date with that, the teachers know that I'm responsible enough to continue doing things the way I'm doing it already. So that's why I'm able to travel so much. Then at the moment, I'm training at Spartan's Table Tennis Center with my coach Tao. I've been training with him for about the last 4.5 to 5 years. So that's where I'm training right now.
That's a good answer. So another question: what was your strategy when you played Wushu? And I think he already answered that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so talking about Europe, right? So
Yeah.
can you share some experience on the European leagues?
Yeah, so it's definitely a different experience compared to what I'm used to normally, right? So in the European league, it's about, depending on which league. So I'm in the German league, but depending on which division also depends on how the formatting works of the matches. So in the second league, we have to win 6 matches, and then yeah, you play 10 matches, and you have to try to win 6 points to win it. If not, you end up tying 5-5. And then it's there's two doubles at the beginning and every team has about like 5 or 6 players on it. There's 2 pairs of doubles. Those are the first 2 matches. Then your 1 and 2 player plays against their 1 and 2 player, and then our 3 and 4 player plays against their 3 and 4 player. And then after that, it switches the order of like the 1 and 2 will play the other 1 and 2. I hope it's a little confusing to get, but it's a long process, and like it's definitely a different experience, and there's lots of energy from both sides, especially when I've played for my club, which is right now Mainz in Germany. I've played only at home so far, and it's been crazy because the support from the fans over there are really like they're really great for me, and it gives me a lot of motivation to play well and win my matches.
Yeah. Do you have the recordings?
I don't have the recordings, but I think somebody probably from our club, I think, is recording the matches, but I'm not sure.
Got it. So I think I know that feeling. You're under like a different pressure when you play for the club, because
Yeah.
if you don't win, your manager is like yell at you, right? So
Sometimes, yeah.
how do you deal with that?
I mean,
Like other than the you win, you gain some like money, but other than that, what motivates you to win?
I think just the matter of having the experience also is what motivates me. Just wanting to play in this league, and there's so many players there that aren't even playing like they're playing professionally, but they're not playing as part of like the national team. So to see so many different players and to be able to play against so many different styles, think that's what I really enjoyed to play against, like just wanting to win, in every match, and also having to being able. It's really nice to being able to contribute some points to the team also, So the knowing that you're a part of the win.
Yeah, so I think for junior players, when you grow up like to an older age and you want to pursue the European League, the path, professional path, you can, you know, take some advice from us because like I played in the Austrian League.
Yeah.
It was very difficult for me because I was going to school and then I flew to Austria on Friday nights and then I arrive on Saturday and then directly go to the club, play the match. If I win, I get the money. If I don't, then I get like the yelling. And then I stay one night at Austria and then I fly back to New York and go back to school. So for me, the winning motivation was like I spent that much time on the plane and in the airport. So usually like I'll take a transfer from I think New York to Russia and then Russia to Austria. So I will like spend like 15 hours on the plane. And
Yes,
then
to make it worth it.
yeah, I just thought if I don't win, why should I go, right? And then I end up winning. So yeah, so that is the European League part. For the future speaker, they will have different experience on their European League. And there is another question from Sarah.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah. Other successful athletes, for example, Kobe Bryant in basketball says that the key to success was their drive and passion. I was wondering. Good because you put more on. So I mean, I think for me, there's definitely a great passion and love for playing table tennis. That's part of the reason why, of course, I love going to the hall every day, wanting to practice more and everything. And that's what motivates me to becoming a better player. I know that there's always going to be some players above me, and I want to reach to their level. So I mean, that's one of the aspects for it. Another thing was at a young age, I was winning a lot of like events at my age category. So like as my dad also told me, like he said to like kind of push forward, just try to move up to the next age category. So when I was like a mini cadet, I was trying to play against the cadets, and then once I was reaching their level, then I started playing against the juniors. So that's how like I wasn't trying to stay at my age level. I was trying to move up as fast as I can, which kind of made me become a better player. And then also, I think in 2014 was when Tao had come to the US. And that's until then, my rating kind of was like going up by a couple hundred each year kind of thing. And then Tao came and he really helped me like see it differently and like put more focus into table tennis. And just like the mental strategy also about not thinking like, even if I was at that time was 2300, even if I was playing like a 2100 player, it doesn't mean that I might be better than the player. I just have to fight every match as if I was playing somebody better than me or somebody worse than me. Everybody had to be the same level for me. So I think that's what really motivated me, and that's how I was able to become a better player, I think.
Good.
Yeah.
Nikhil, so we're all under a quarantine situation.
Yeah.
And what advice do you have for the juniors for them to train and practice during the quarantine and then maybe like have a boost to their skills after the competitions come back?
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm going to be honest. It's been very difficult even for me, to have the motivation to come every single day and want to practice like with the robot because it's not the same for me. I'd much rather be practicing with somebody on the other side of the table because it's a lot more fun that way. But I think it's just the drive that once you come out of this, everything will be all right again, I guess. And just you have to have a positive mindset when it comes to practicing every day. And then also, I think it's important that when we're like at home and we're finding some way to practice, most important is to like, if you can do like more physical training versus table tennis, because that's better so that once you go back, you don't lose like the stamina you possibly had before this quarantine happened. And then also to work on like the foundations and like footwork technique and stuff like that versus like actually a game situation. Because I know for a fact that there probably won't be any more won't be tournaments for the next couple months at least. So with that, knowing that ahead, this is the time for me especially to be able to work on my foundation and make that stronger. So when I come out of this, then I can work on like game situation stuff and then become better.
Yeah, that's really good. I think it's a very good opportunity for the juniors right now because your rivals may not be practicing, so you can take this like few months, practice on your serves, practice on your receives, and then when you come back, when we have tournaments, your skills just like boost up, and then everyone else is just like stay at the same level. So it is a really great opportunity for you guys to practice right now, to take this opportunity to have motivations, gain motivations, and find the new motivations to practice. So yeah. So
Yeah.
new questions. How important was physical condition and diet to your efforts to move from a good player to a very good player?
Yeah, so I think it's very important, I think, because having like discipline, I guess, when you're training is very important in order to move up and be like physically better, because it comes until like I feel for me until like 2400 about, I felt that's until then was like when I had needed like the table tennis skills and aspect, and until after that there isn't much more you can really improve on when it comes to the skills and stuff like that. But I felt physical and training was the key for me when I had to like become better and move up from after that level. I mean, especially like for me, right before the Olympic trials, most important thing was I went to Germany for about 10 days, and I played and I practiced with many other professional players there in Grenzau, and it really helped me, I think, just build the mindset and the strength in order to become better than the rest of my competition. So I think it's
Yeah,
very important.
I agree. Because like when I didn't practice, when I did not have the chance to practice in New York, I just like run every day in the gym.
Yeah.
And then yeah, before the Olympic qualification, I didn't have time to practice every day before like the final month. And
Hmm.
then all I did was just run. I think
Yeah,
keeping your yeah.
I think that's also important. Like even for now, I'm not, I don't think everyone may possibly have a table, at home to be able to practice, or a robot even to practice. But it's most important if you're able to stay like physically well. When you're able to come back, then you can for sure build back the table tennis skills within like a couple weeks. That won't be hard, but to build back the physical endurance and stamina and everything will take a longer time.
So the new question from Thompson, I don't
Mark,
think he answered that
which one?
because like
No, the last one, right? As a
yeah.
lefty.
So for serves, I think everybody have their own serves and their secret, their strategy. You can't really share that thought, because like for junior players, serving is crucial, and like every top player, they have their own serves, and then they have their own strategy after they serve. So I think it's good for you guys to develop your serve, and a series of combinations after the serving.
Yeah,
Right,
I
Nikhil?
mean, I think for me it's like the idea of okay, I mean being a lefty, of course I have the angles compared to all the other players, and being one of the few lefties there are in the US, it's definitely giving me an advantage. But also with uh like just, I mean, not that serve specifically, but in general, like I always have some serve that when it comes to like important points, I use that. Like for me, many times it can be my hook serve. It can be also my regular pendulum serve, depending on who I'm playing. Right. And I think for Tom also like probably his reverse. So like according to different players, they have their own specific serves that they use when it comes to crucial points. And I think, yeah, I think that's just where the player feels the most confident and be able to like bring out their best. Um, Against Soshin at the Olympic trial. Um, it was a shot I had worked on. My backhand punch has been a shot that I worked on when I was much younger, because at that time I wasn't playing so much backhand, and I then when I first started doing that, I was using Stiga rubber, which is more of like a flat rubber, which was making my backhand punch really effective. So by doing that, I mean it's a different style compared to almost all other players. Most people are used to having the top spin rally, but when I'm giving this backhand punch, it's become more, the ball is more like flat, so it makes it much harder for the opponents to receive against it, and it also gives more speed to the ball. Along with me being a lefty, I'm able to play this ball really wide, like really wide angles.
Yeah, I think we're gonna take a few more questions from our guests. Um, if not, then Nikhil, do you have any just like top advice for the juniors?
Wait, there's another question.
Oh,
I think from the Chinese camp, I think the most important thing I learned was like I think just the discipline, that they have to when it comes to the training and like just discipline and physical training. I was kind of I only came during the second week, but what I learned from them when I practiced the different things different players had taught me like about specific techniques, and then also when we were in the gym like with the Chinese team, it definitely was a good experience for me to learn new drills and stuff to practice on for my game to improve and how I can become a better player. Yeah.
okay. So back to my question. What's the top advice for juniors? Like, it's general advice.
Um, I think for me, I think it's just be confident. I feel it's just be confident in your own game. Just fight every point. Don't give up, of course. And yeah, if you as long as you're confident in your game and you practice on that and you make your own foundation stronger, you'll be able to, I think, become a better player. Because the thing is, most of the top players also know my style is a little bit strange compared to many other players. I tend to play a little bit slower and a little bit stranger style when it comes with spin and stuff like that. So many, so as long as I make my own game stronger, I'm able to become a better player.
What about like on the motivation side? 'Cause, like sometimes if you're tired, you want to quit. What do you
Yeah.
tell yourself?
So I mean, one of the things I do also like when I'm playing multi-ball, for example, right? And I always treat it as if it's like 10-10 or 9-9 kind of thing. Like it's the last couple points that I want to like. I have to win these points in order to win the match, you know. And just having that mindset, I think it motivates me to also to want to make every single shot. Before when I was younger and I realized, okay, it's the last couple balls in the multi-ball, I just hit them onto the other side without care. But like now, I feel it's very important to play every single ball like the same quality and as as best as you can in order to like mentally because it definitely has helped me when it's come to like now like crucial moments in matches when it's become like 10-10, right? And I feel like more confident now in my game that I'll be able to make those shots on the table.
Okay, I think we're gonna wrap up with our last question from Mark. And Linda, I think we already answered the
Right.
balancing school and training in the before. So if you want to find the answers, like we'll have recordings after this. And our last question: what is your relationship like with Kanak? Are you supporting each other on your individual goal?
Well, yeah. So I mean, Kanak and I have known each other, I think, now for about 3 years, almost 4 years. So we've traveled to many tournaments together, whether it was in the junior level or in the men's level. So I've definitely learned a lot from him, and also being and rooming with him, I've seen the things he's doing in the room itself. Just like doing some small physical training, just like maybe the day before the tournament, also just to get your body kind of ready for the tournament, and also a lot of mental things he's like done. And I think just his focus in the game I've learned like how he's able to maintain his focus in the game and like be able to play every quality into the every single ball he can. And then I think also I was in Germany where he is now living, and I've definitely practiced with him. And practicing with him is very different than practicing with many other players because there isn't like a single ball which he isn't like, which he's every single ball he's focused on. So it also gives me the motivation to want to practice and play every single ball at the best, like to my best ability. And yeah, I think it's definitely helped me individually like grow to become a better player, especially on the mental aspect of it. And I think physically also, and if I once a couple times I've followed him and like what his physical like regimen and what he does, and it's difficult, and I think it's helped me become also stronger.
Thank you, Nikhil. Any other questions from Sean, from Virginia?
Anybody?
I think Mark prepared a few questions.
I got a question. I want to follow up on that, if you don't mind. And first of all, I want to say, Tom, thank you very much for taking a leadership role on this event. I think you're doing a great job. Nikhil, obviously, you and I have seen each other at many events and always been impressed by your fire. I love the fact that you mentioned this earlier, and Tom has brought out some great points, but one of them is that you seem to feed off of the crowd and the people around you and your own ability to be vocal in the play. And it seems consistent with your personality. And I'm sure that's not for everybody to play like that. But if that is your personality, to have the courage to play like that, I think is very smart, because I've seen you self-motivate that way and turn matches around just by essentially kind of digging down deep, finding that voice, literally and figuratively, and coming back from deep holes.
Yeah, I think it's important for all players, you know, whether they're loud on the court or not. It's just important to kind of have that fire like within, you know. For me, I kind of let it out because it helps me kind of feel more free and also like give myself more courage when I'm on the table and know that I always have a chance in the match. For others, I know some of my teammates who are not as loud, right? And when they're not as loud, I mean, I know for them, they just keep it kind of within, but it's still within them and they're still motivating themselves to want to win every point. They may not show it like me, but they still do.
Yeah, it's the job on the bench, right? To yell, to chill.
Well, I love it. You know, and Tom made a great point about the fact that when he first saw you, you were like a 2,300 player, and you've made this really what I call quantum leap up to a different level of play. And I think we've got a lot of players here today in this meeting who are probably around that same, ready for that same growth spurt. You mentioned a relationship with a coach that was very important, instrumental in that quantum leap. And I'm wondering for you, what are the factors? Is it physical conditioning? Is it learning a shot that you didn't have before? Is it having a coach who understands the battle principle that you're just never going to give up on any point?
Well, I think for me, you know, it was, well, I quite remember like 2014, around like October and November was when I first started training with Tao. And he was very serious at the beginning, you know, because at the beginning it's most important. And the thing was most important thing he did was we repeated the same drills over and over and over again every single day. I played either like 2-2 forehand or 1-1 forehand every single day as like my first drill. And we kind of set a goal every single day, how many rallies I want to get, how many sets of that, in order to become like more consistent with my game. Then alongside of that, I had a couple other teammates who were also who also had Coach Tao as their coach, but at that time, and we would all do physical together. I remember like also, it's not only about what you're doing in the court also, right? It's about what you do by yourself individually outside too, in order to make that jump. Because I remember I had one teammate before, his name was Alex. We would always we went running like 15, 20 laps kind of thing almost every weekend on the track kind of thing, just as physical. And also having someone there on the side to like motivate you and you able to motivate them too, it really helps with like improving both players like as a team kind of thing. So that's what the major jump I made in 2014 U.S. Nationals. Yeah.
You know, you talked about your success at Olympic trials, and congratulations. We're looking forward to you representing the United States in Tokyo in 2021, but we're looking forward to it. I loved that tournament. It was just the way it was set up. It forced every good player to play against every other good player, which is kind of different than a bracketed tournament where, you know, the draw can be so critical to how deep you can go into a tournament. I'm wondering what your experience was like in Santa Monica, knowing that, you know, essentially you're going to have to play everybody to be able to earn that spot on the Olympic team.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been to many trials with that same kind of format before that tournament, with the whole system of the round robin and then like a second round robin after that. So it more than a physical kind of like deterrence it is on you, it's more of a mental. You need to have like the mental capacity to be able to like fight through every single match and be able to win every single point, you know. And I think a little bit like superstitious for me though kind of thing was because I had played the Pan American Games trials at that same place and had won all 11 matches at that time too. So it
You
kind of
should just keep going back there. You should just
Yeah,
make
so
your career in Santa Monica.
it gave me confidence, that like I'll be able to, I can play well because like I've played well here before. I can play well here again, kind of thing. And I guess it did work out for me. So, I mean, it was difficult because I had to treat every match as if it was like my first match, each match as if it was a new match, right? Doesn't matter if I won the earlier match or not, right? And I had to just fight for every point. And Tao, one of the main things was when he told me like when between every match, he didn't tell me too many tactical things actually. He told me more kind of like treat every game as if it's the seventh game, right? Every point as if it's like deuce. So like, and every ball he told me to play with quality. Doesn't matter if you miss it or make it, just play every single ball, whether it's your serve, receive, loop, right, block, whatever. Just play it with quality and you'll be able to get there. And that's what I did basically. And that's how I reached the end.
Well, it's interesting because one of the elements that stands out to me in your game is this willingness to take a chance, to go ahead and take the big swing and to try to hit a winner. And I mean, it's one thing, it's important obviously to keep the ball on the table and to continue the point if you're in trouble. But when it looks to me, when you get a chance to close a point out, you're not afraid to go ahead and take that shot. I've seen you miss them, I've seen you hit them, but that fear element doesn't seem to be there, that you seem willing to go ahead and take that shot.
Yeah, I think that's come also more with experience because at first also before this tournament also, and as many other top players know, they were able to push along my backhand and I was struggling with the backhand loop, because I wasn't having confidence with trying to finish shots with my backhand. But I mean, when it came to the trials, I just played confident. I took some risk because of the experience also that I've had. And I mean, it ended up working. So I just continued using it. And sometimes it's important, to take the risk once in a while because you never know. If it works, might as well just keep using it, It's not a risk anymore. It's more of like one of your strengths. And that really helped me play well at the trials.
One of your strengths really does seem to be that powerful forehand, left-hander with a really heavy shot. How important, you're playing pro, you're playing older players. I mean, I think you're 17 now, and you're playing older guys who are presumably bigger, stronger, faster. How important is it to compete at that level, to have that big shot, to be able to hit a powerful forehand?
Yeah, I think it's important because it's also something that the opponent knows that they have to be afraid of, You need something that the opponent needs to know that you have some sort of strength and they want to avoid you from using that strength. If you're able to do that also, then you're able to play into your own game and your own strengths and make the game go into your pathway kind of thing and create and just win every point the way you want to. If you have control over the game, then you're able to win the match.
I think both you and Tom have made a great point about equipment. It's something you see. I come out of various sports, but golf is a big thing for me. You'll see guys change gear and have their game just fall right off they do it because of a sponsorship. They're getting paid and their game falls off the edge of the planet. Finding the gear that's right for you. And we got a lot of young players here, and not being afraid to experiment a little bit to see what is the right gear. And once you find it, stick with it. Don't become chasing the next perfect shot, gear wise. And if somebody, when you're good enough and people are paying for you to play something, make sure that it's the right thing for you.
Yeah, definitely. It's important, to have the equipment that fits best for your game also. I mean, at first, Hurricane didn't necessarily fit within my game because it's more geared towards the Chinese style of playing. But then also over the past year or so, I've been kind of practicing in order to get more strength in my shots and get into more of the attacking kind of mode, which has definitely made this rubber more useful towards my game now.
Well, Tom, you're doing a great job on this. Thank you again for taking the leadership role. They're giving me the X out, like I'm over. You guys know, if you know me, and the youngsters don't know me here, but one of my major problems, I can talk forever. So, Nikhil, thank you very much for all you've done. Thank you very much for representing the United States. Thank you for being a great role model for the young players as well. And I know that Virginia would echo those thoughts, and I'm sure she's got something to say as well.
Oh, yes. We are just very proud of you. And really, thank you. Keep up the good work. And, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you, Tom, too, for taking initiative. Yeah. And Sean, do you have anything? We do have a weekly schedule, and we do encourage all of you joining us. Vet, I saw you on every time on the Zoom. I always saw you so focused here. Well, keep up the good work too, Vet. Other junior players, do you guys have any more questions for Nikhil? Vet, you look very serious.
Very focused.
Very focused, yeah. I saw you play at the Nationals. Yeah, you were really good too. Do you have any questions for Nikhil? All right, I think he's really shy.
No.
All right.
Well, thanks once again, both Nikhil and Tom. We look forward, as I mentioned in the intro before we started the session, we've got Zoran Primorac coming from Croatia, an Olympic silver medalist, who's going to be doing the next one, and we'll get that information out to everyone. I'm going to try to see if I can get Jasna to do the interview, since he was her teammate when they both won medals at the Olympics in Seoul. So I just want to thank everyone for showing up. We will post this live on USA Table Tennis's website. And have a great weekend, everyone, and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.